Hi, and welcome to the Senior Network. I'm your host, Greg Fulton, along today with Lindsay Roberg, Executive Director, Friends of Caroline Hospice.
How are you?
Good, very good. And our one and only Becky Davis
Whoop,
with
whoop.
the Cypress of Hilton Head. Love the outfit.
Well,
we were
thank
talking
you.
about that, right?
Yep.
And you told me not to talk about spring, but I have to.
Okay, well,
the colors.
thank you. Well, thank you. I'm trying to channel spring, and
Well, glad to have both of you again. And I know before the show we were actually talking a little bit about the stigma of, of aging and some of the services that we offer and the way they were 30 years ago compared to the way they are now. And it's a lot different. So tell us a little bit when it comes to hospice, what we mean by that.
So obviously, a lot of people have heard of the word hospice, but there's not always a positive, meaning
Sure.
that goes
It's a
along
bad
with
word to some
hospice. Yeah,
people,
people
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
oh, it's only you're going to be under hospice, and that means you're going to pass quickly, and that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times, our patients are with us for 6 months, a year, and so especially as we have gotten more progressive in our medical care, people are living longer, and so that stigma we need to get rid of it and have people enter into hospice a little earlier.
Well, and the services of hospice have probably, there's a lot more offered than maybe 10, 20 years ago too, right? I mean,
Right.
as far as the social services, the chaplain, and all the kind of services that go along with it, right?
Right. So when hospice care began, it was all volunteers.
Right.
And that was almost 40 years ago. So we've been around for 37 years. We were part of the movement in the United States. But as time has gone on, and especially with there being a Medicare and Medicaid benefit, there's so much that's covered by hospice. So it's a holistic approach with doctors, nurses, chaplains, social workers, CNA, certified nursing assistants,
Right.
volunteers, and it covers all of their medical care, all of their medications, equipment, and supplies. So there's a lot that goes into hospice care that people don't realize.
And for people that may not know, when you say Medicare, that's age, 65 and over?
65 and older, and also people who have a life-limiting illness can apply
They
for
can, okay.
Medicare and get it earlier, yes.
does long-term or does regular insurance pay for hospice care?
Some insurances do. They have added that on. So your Blue Cross Blue Shield has a hospice policy. The only issue that you have with private care is a lot of times those deductibles are really high.
Right.
And so as a nonprofit, what we really strive is that everyone's able to have that care. And what that means is that if you haven't met your deductible or if you don't have insurance, you still get those same services free of charge.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you must do a lot of fundraising.
We do. We have a lot of fundraisers. So
And you were talking about that earlier, right? A fashion show? Is
yes,
that right?
we have the Fashion for Compassion. And that's
How did I miss that?
It's our 15th year. You have to join us. It's so much fun. We have moved it to Friday night. We used to do it during lunch, and
Okay.
we've realized that people want to be able to let loose a little bit more. So
Absolutely.
we're going to do it April 20th at the Tabby Place, which is downtown Beaufort,
Okay.
5 to 9.
Nice.
And we'll have about 15 to 18 stores doing 3 outfits apiece, and we'll have a live auction, and you'll get past hors d'oeuvres. We have a catering company and all that good stuff. So we're looking forward to it.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, so you'll have to join us.
They do a lot of things. I mean, I remember what was the brews and
Yeah, we
band
did bands,
you
brews,
yeah,
and
yeah.
barbecue. It's one fundraiser after another, it seems. So that was in February,
Yeah.
and then right before that was the Festival of Trees. So we do Festival of Trees, bands, brews, and then the fashion show.
And the community really comes together and supports that, obviously. It's
Yes.
large
That's
crowds.
wonderful.
Very-
Right? Yeah.
All right, well, speaking one more thing, though, I know you mentioned the the Camp Caroline.
Camp Caroline. So that is open. We, Friends of Caroline, we're partnered with the Beaufort County School District, just as their bereavement team. We go in and help anybody who's experienced a loss within the Beaufort County School District.
Wow.
And so we do 6-week sessions. That's all free of charge, and it can be anyone, even if they've not been a patient of ours. Anybody who's lost anyone, they refer to us. And so Camp Caroline is really that bereavement training, sessions all in one day. So this year it's going to be June 25th, and we're going to have it at the Port Royal Sound Foundation, which we're really excited about because we're going to do a mix of not only learning what bereavement is
Sure.
and how to cope, and that what I'm experiencing is normal, but also put in that low country learning about the ecosystem, which is so dear to my heart. So they'll get to learn about the low country and go on a boat ride and do some nature trails and stuff like that. So we're really looking forward to
Awesome,
it.
very exciting.
Wow. And so well deserved. I mean, there's a lot of people don't know that that's out there.
Right.
And it's available to them. They just suffer in silence, but it's
Right.
good to know. I had no idea. It's wonderful.
Well, Becky, I know you probably deal with the same thing. We're talking about stigmas, right?
Oh yes.
So tell us a little bit about that continuum of care. And
Well, and I started in this industry in '89. And I really struggled communicating what continuing care looked like.
Right.
Because everyone just remembers where their grandparents lived or where their parents lived, which was, an old, dingy, fill in the blank.
Right.
And it's not like that anymore,
No.
thank goodness. The continuing care communities are offering a plan for folks, and not to get so technical, but to say, to age in place. And so what continuing care communities have accomplished in that is like, hey, it doesn't have to be, a terrible situation.
Right.
It can be fun, active, attractive settings, lots of activities. You can live in a pretty home.
Sure.
And then if you do need that higher level of care at some point,
Right.
not everyone does, it's there on campus to help you with that transition. And I think we're getting better at communicating what continuing care can offer, but still there's always that hesitation in folks' mind to pick up the phone and call. And to that point, in this spring, in April, we're having an open house, and that's always a nice, easy way to look at the Cypress without feeling like you have to sit down, across the table and speak to a salesperson.
Exactly.
And they can just look at all the different models that we have, and get to talk to the members, and because. I don't know about you, but I live on testimonials, about
That's
your
referral.
families.
Right.
Yeah, and our members are the best. They give the best testimonials about the Cypress.
Well, and it's a great point. I'm thinking as you're talking about, I know the Preston, that is your skilled nursing unit, and most people think, like you said, 30 years ago, a nursing home. Oh my
I'm going to
goodness,
go right.
scared
I'm
to
going to go
death,
right to the Preston
and I'm
Health
never
Center.
going to move.
Yeah, that's not
it's
the
totally
case.
different, right? It's totally
That's
different.
not the
People
case.
come in there, go through rehab, come right back out, go to home. There's all kinds.
Exactly. And the other thing is too, people wait till they think they need the Cypress to pick up the phone and call, and you can't do that. I mean, you have to pass the physical.
Sure.
And that's an eye opener for a lot of folks and a lot of children. They're like, "What?" Yeah.
I thought you could just go.
No,
Right?
no. You have to. South Carolina's law says you have to be able to live independently. So, and your doctor has to sign off that you're free of any cognitive impairment or physical.
Absolutely. And then as you age, I know you have services too that you can actually supplement and come into
Well,
the
that's
home,
why
right?
that's why they've moved to the Cypress,
Right.
because just in case for the plan, if those things they do need care later on.
And that would be like a home care company like mine. that would
Yeah,
come
your
in.
in-home
Exactly.
care or Preston Health Center
Sure.
or our subacute care that we're going to be opening up hopefully soon. Exactly.
And that's just to offer help with the activities of getting
Daily-
around every day,
daily
right?
living.
Moving around, eating, and after surgeries, I know there's a lot of need.
Right.
And the other thing is too, everyone thinks Medicare is going to be, their savior and,
Right.
and pay for all this, and that's
Everything,
not
right,
the case.
right. It'll pay for the basics, though. Like with the hospice and the home health and things like that. But you're right, the supportive
Right.
care end of it, of just the day-to-day companionship, safety, those kind of, that's not going to be paid for through Medicare. Yeah, exactly.
So it's important to plan, definitely, and have that plan in place.
Yeah, and we tell a lot of the, I tell a lot of the children, the first time they go on that big European trip, that's when mom and dad are going to need some assistance, and they're over in Italy.
Yeah, that's when
they
they
get
get the
the
phone
call.
call.
Yeah, it always happens. But the thing is, the Cypress, we have advocates there to advocate for their folks until they can get there.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when you say advocates, meaning you have like a nursing staff or someone that actually goes in and
Debbie
observes?
Peebles, Debbie Peebles is our wellness navigator.
I know Debbie well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't she darling?
She's darling.
And she will go to the hospital. And
Just-
she'll
yep.
advocate for our folks until family can come and advocate for their parents on their care. She can organize getting someone a bed in the Preston Health
Sure.
Center if that's necessary,
Right.
or organizing in-home care, whether it's with the Cypress or with Right at Home.
Sure.
She can organize that as well. And I always say Debbie is everyone's big sister or granddaughter.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you would work with someone like Debbie too, right? And
Right.
the family, correct?
Absolutely. And one of the big things that we're really trying to educate the community about is having their wishes in writing so that somebody like Debbie, who's the advocate, can come in and say, this is exactly what Mr. Smith wanted. And so that takes the guesswork away. And even for the children in Europe, you know, if they have an outline of what mom or dad wants, it sure makes life a lot easier.
does.
So we're trying to get people to think ahead, you know, and have those things
It's
in
not a
writing.
knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Don't
And
wait
the-
till crisis mode.
Right, and then you're talking about like DNRs and things like that in
Right,
place.
and even just, you know, living wills, what is
Right.
it that you want, you know? And so South Carolina, a lot of people don't realize South Carolina is a right to live state, which means that if something happens, our medical community will do everything that they need to do in order to keep you alive. And so it's important for you to look at what it is that you want and make your own decisions.
Absolutely, great thought. Hold that thought. We're going to need to take a break. Stay with us. This is the Senior Network. We'll be right back.